This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself. Today we have a Frigidaire dryer that keeps beeping. It beeps even when it's turned off, even in the middle of the night. So we're going to be replacing the controller. It looks like this. This is the control panel. And you may also need to replace the control panel if you don't see the readout anymore, or if the dryer is just not starting up. So to do it, I've got it unplugged. I'm going to remove the two screws, Phillips head screws, from the back of the dryer, the top panel, because I have to remove the top panel. So take two Phillips head screws off the back. And then I can grab the panel and push it away from me by about an inch, and I can lift it off. So once you have the top off, you can disconnect these two modular connectors. They're bringing power to the control board. They come off really easily. And there is a zip tie that you want to snip. I'm using a pair of diagonal pliers to cut those, some wire cutters. Using your Phillips head screwdriver, you're just going to remove the two Phillips head screws from the top that are holding on the control panel. But there's also two in the back, so you have to come down about maybe 4 inches from the top. There's one on the left side, and then there's going to be one on the right side. The one on the right side's a little harder to get to. I usually do it by feel. I just put my finger down there to feel where the screw is, get the screwdriver in there, and then zip it out. And then once you have those off, you can remove the control panel. You have to kind of wiggle it and lift up, wiggle and lift until it comes off. And there's going to be some modular electrical connectors that we have to pull off the back of the control panel. Pretty easy to do. Let's get these two. Sometimes they're on there pretty hard, so you have to wiggle and pull. You could use a pair of needle nose pliers, or just regular pliers will help too. I always like to take a couple of photographs though of the wires before I take them off, just in case. On this model, you pretty much don't need to do that because you can only get the wires to go on one way because of the way the modular connectors are set up. So not as critical, but I always just like to have that practice using the digital camera. So once you get these two bigger wires off, there's a few modular connectors in the middle that you want to wiggle off too. I'm using the diagonal pliers to lift up on a zip tie that's holding down the wires. I don't have to cut the zip tie, I can just lift it up off the panel. Pulling off these two, which involves just wiggling and pulling. I'm going to get the wires out of this guide over here. And now I should be able to separate the control panel from the machine. And that's going to allow me to open it up so I can put it in that new circuit board. So I'm pulling off this one wire connector here. I'm using my Phillips head screwdriver to remove 1, 2, 3. And on this side, a couple more. 4, 5 Phillips head screws. And then what I'll do is I'll carefully lift up the controller off of the front panel, the fascia. So I'm going to wiggle and lift, comes right off. There's another circuit board underneath it, a smaller one that we don't have to be concerned with. So we're just going to leave that one alone. We're going to lift it up. Just taking your time, making sure nothing's going to fall out on you. There we go. We're going to put this plastic front piece off to the side. And now I'm going to pull the screws out. I had just loosened them, but I'm going to pull them out, put them in my pocket so I don't lose them for reassembly. So now I want to separate these two halves, and the screws are all out, so we just have to kind of pry the two apart using the thumbs. So I'm going to lift off that part of it. And I'm going to lift up and just kind of wiggle that off. Oh, I took off that one wire connector. Got that out of the way. All right, get that piece off. And now I still have to get the circuit board off of its front connector, so I have to just use my thumbs to gently pry back these little clips that are holding it, and then lift up on the circuit board a little bit on the corner, and then do the next one, lift up, and the next one, lift up, and then it should be able to slide off. So again, the customer on this one was just saying that it would just start beeping for no reason, even when it wasn't on. And that's a weird problem that happens to these about year number 8 on this model due to something that goes wrong with the controller. So here's the new circuit board for the controller. It's the exact same piece. I'm going to put it on, and then I'll push down with my thumbs to have it lock in with the little plastic clips. I'm just making sure everything's lined up. Okay, that's all done. I'm going to now put the top back on. And then kind of press it shut till it clicks. Put the plastic or the wire connector back in on the left side. And then we're going to add this back onto the front assembly. This black knob has to go through as we put it back on into the back of the knob that we used to turn to select a cycle. So we've got it all lined up, and now we just add the Phillips head screws to hold the whole thing together. We'll go ahead and tighten those down. 1, 2. Got all the screws in. All right, put in this little wire connector here to the smaller circuit board. Get that done. Now I'm going to get it up in position and reconnect the wires that go between the circuit board and the dryer itself. So I'm going to orient that panel correctly, flip it around this way. And make sure I push these wires in really good so they're fully seated. These two are kind of hard to get in there, so take your time, wiggle and push down really hard. I think those are going to the heater relay on the circuit board, I believe. Okay, these are for the controls. You'll wiggle that in. Make sure it's fully seated down as far as it'll go. Another relay right there. Lock that in. Just checking them all. Yep. That looks good. Everything's in there and seated, so we're doing good. I'm going to kind of get the wire back into the wire guide. So you can really do this whole procedure with mainly just a Phillips head screwdriver and wire cutter's help. And that's about it. I like that little angle tool though for getting into the tighter spaces, like putting the front panel or the top panel back on. So I'm just lining up these little plastic pieces that go into the metal frame first, and then I'll go and add all those screws back in that hold on the control panel. These are pretty good dryers. They go a long time. It's just the circuit board dies usually about after 8 years. So I'm going to put the screw back in there on the back bottom aspect. Get that tightened up. Do the other side. It's kind of by feel, so you have to just take the screw and then feel for where the hole is, and then start it by hand, and then you can tighten it up. All right, we're going to put the 2 Phillips head screws in on the top right and top left. Almost done. There we go. I'm going to put the modular connectors together again that bring power to the controller and send signals down into the different components at the lower part of the dryer where the motor is and the heater is. Just going to start it up. Got it plugged in and doing great. So we'll button it up by putting the top panel back on. I'm going to put a new zip tie on here too to hold these wires away from the drum as it spins. Cut that with my wire cutters. Okay, the panel goes in, the front lip goes into the front plastic. Wiggle that in. I'm using a camera. Help me line up the hole on the back so I know which one the Phillips head screw is going to go into to hold on the top panel. So I'll feel where that hole is because I can't see it. And I'll start it by hand, and I'll use that little DeWalt angle tool to get the Phillips head screwdriver in there. You could use a small snubby nose one too, would work. Hope this helps you. Thanks for watching.
Thanks so much for watching our video. We really appreciate your support. And when you get a chance, please press the subscribe button below so you can be subscribed, and also the notification bell so we can send you more videos about appliance repair. Please also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you really liked the video and it really helped you, please press this new applaud button and you can show your support and also get a nice clapping hands for your video. Thanks again.